Hey everyone, how are we doing today? I can see all your comments fine. I hope you're seeing me fine. I'm just adjusting the screen. As always, if somebody would just say, hey, you can see me, that way I know. We can just... let's see. Let's start with questions. There's already a couple of you guys on, so anyone got anything cool to talk about? I got a new mic, so I hope you guys can hear me good. If it's too loud, let me know. I can make adjustments. Jay Maxey says, hey, Phil, do you have any tips for flying with a guitar on United Airlines? I don't. I would listen to whatever they say, though. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see what we got. Here, Robert wants to know what's my thoughts on Helix. I still haven't tried it. That's the processor I want to try. Out of the Fractal, the Helix, and the Kemper, I think that's the one I'm most interested of the three to check out, just because it looks a little bit more user-friendly. I checked out the Fractal when Larry Mitchell was demoing it and stuff, and it was amazing. It was a little more complicated than I probably would enjoy. Let's see. It says, next one. Oh, Just a Bike wants to know how long have I been playing guitar? I've been playing guitar for 25 years, although it's very misleading because I can honestly say from was 10 years, I didn't play guitar at all. I played only bass with a little bit of guitar here and there. So I started out guitar, switched to bass, stayed bass almost exclusively for a long time, and then brought guitar back in. So let's see. Here's a good question. I should build a guitar from scratch. I'm actually building 2 guitars right now from scratch. So I'll let you guys know what that's up to. I'm up to a weird project, to say the least. Okay, next one. Have you ever heard of a Michael Kellett guitars? And if so, what's your opinion? I don't know. I heard of Michael Kelly. Is that Michael Kelly, or is that something different? I've never heard of that. Let's see. And I'm going to try to keep up because they come by fast. For some reason, I can't scroll correctly. All right, here we go. Hi, Phil. Have you had the opportunity to try the Dean Zielinski guitars? I have, Jack. I've actually set a couple of those up. The new ones with the with that crazy what I call the pineapple neck. You know, right? It's like a pineapple. It's all carved up. The first one I ever saw was an American-made one, and it was a sales rep for the company. And he said he was the inspiration because they took it from his pool stick. The only thing I can tell you is it's really cool, but it's so different. That's the only reason I never add one to my collection. I was more like, I don't know, just concerned. You know, if you get used to that, I don't know if other necks are gonna feel right again. What did I do in the Army? Bill Hayes wants to know. I was a 63 hotel, so I worked on heavy equipment, like big trucks, Hemmets, if you're familiar with those trucks. Turn wrenches. Nothing dangerous. Unless you drop stuff on your feet. Let's see. Oh, okay, wait, hold on. It is really scrolling in a way that I can't see. Because it won't let me scroll back up. It goes too fast, so I'm going to do my best. Question is, Boss Katana or Blackstar amp? I think I like the Katana better. That's just my opinion for whatever. What do I think of the Big Muff? I have one. I have the Nano Big Muff in my collection of pedals. I think the Big Muff sounded better than Nano, but the Nano was more practical. It was a little cheaper and smaller. Somebody asked about Acacia guitars. I think those are really good. What kind of woods are you using to build your guitars? One is a mahogany body and one is an alder body, and both are maple necks with rosewood fretboards. Next question. How many times can you nail with a cheap modeling amp? I don't understand the question. I'm going to have to come back to that. Michael Kelly guitars are quite good. They are quite good. Man, it's going fast. And for some reason, oh, you know what? Let me try this. There. Maybe that helps it. Because it goes by so fast I can't see it. Oh, somebody wants to know if I was ever in a band. Yeah, I was in a band. High school, and then after high school for a little while. I've always been more of a gear thing than more of a music, playing music in a band. It's just been always my thing. I was always the guy that when I was, right before I was supposed to go on stage, I was hanging out with the other bands looking at what gear they had, which is probably frustrating to the other guys in the band. What do we think of Kiesel guitars and semi-hollow ones? I like Kiesel guitars. I haven't tried the semi-hollow ones. Kiesel, I think for a lot of us, it's a guitar that we all have on the radar, right? My problem with Kiesel is the same problem everybody has, which is you can't touch one. So you're afraid to order it, and then if you get it, you don't like it. And I know they say they'll send it back, but that's kind of a heartbreaking experience sometimes. So I'm trying to muster up I don't want to say the courage, but I'm trying to muster up the will to order one. What do you think about Strymon Sunset Pedal? I have not tried it, but Strymon's got a humongously great reputation. Let's see. Yeah, United Breaks Guitar. Somebody was mentioning that video. That's a funny video song if you guys haven't seen it. What's your thoughts on the new PRS SE 2017s? I like them. I really like PRS SE. I've been in communication with Paul Reed Smith and those guys a lot recently, and we were talking about doing for the channel a run of 25 or 50 SEs. So like a custom 24, and it would be kind of like, and I don't want to say rip-off because that sounds really horrible, inspired by the Chapman logic, which would we would present it to everyone. We would all vote together what color, what model, and then we would make it personal to us in every way, and then we'd order them up, and then everybody would commit to buy, like a group buy-in for us. So if you guys are interested, I'm still talking to them about that. If I can make it happen, we're gonna do it. So Lawrence is like, yes, you also have a Lawrence Petros Green Russian Muff variant. I do have that pedal. In fact, no, I think it's on the pedal board. Let's see. Somebody wants to know what I think of Amplitude 4. I haven't tried Amplitude 4. I have Amplitude on an iPad, one of my iPads. I don't know what version it is. My thoughts on Ampeg amps, they were great back in the day, right? If you're talking about bass amps and guitar amps, it's tough. Guitar amps, I had a Blue Diamond that I kind of regret selling because the clean was so good. The bass amps have always been kind of industry standards. Okay, best, this is a tough question, so I want to answer it. Mark Love says, Phil, what's the best 24 fret guitar for $300? Oh, tough. Do the SE's standards come in 24? I think so. That would be, I'm curious to check that out. Maybe that one. It's tough. There's a couple Jacksons I really like in that price range. I just bought a Jackson for $199 or $179 that I couldn't stop playing. So I have it, and I've been scratching my head for 2 weeks why I bought this thing, but I can't stop loving it for $200. And it's just a JS11, I think. So in black, nothing exciting. Okay, so have I talked about the new acoustic materials such as, here, you know what? Let's go this way. That way I can scroll back. There are 278 of us on here, and so there's just a lot of questions, and I'm trying to get to all of them. We'll try it. Are you selling a Dana Scoop? Nope. Keith, I sold my silver one, and I'm keeping the red one forever. So that's just how it works. If you want one, they always ask too much for them. You just got to wait until somebody gets reasonable in their head. They're still only worth $300-400. So maybe $5. Let's see. What's another one? What do you think of the Evertune bridges? Chris, I just recently, about 2 months ago, set one up on a new Washburn, and had to adjust and stuff. It was really cool. It's a really cool, unique thing. It's the problem for me is that if you don't buy a guitar with it in it already, like that Washburn, you pretty much have to destroy your guitar to put it in there. I mean, you're cutting out a lot of material. So my concern is that it's like if you put it in a guitar, things like that get tough for me because if I love it, then I'll want it in all my guitars. And once you put it in a guitar, you're pretty much keeping that guitar forever. So next one is, any idea why Gibson is losing dealers in Seattle? There's now only Guitar Center. Yeah, it's tough, right? The mom and pop market is shrinking in price range, right? So sub $1,000, $1,000 guitars are what's winning. And that gives you the Epiphone, that makes you have a strong desire. But Gibson really forces dealers to take a lot of inventory. And And it's their prerogative. I don't want to demonize Gibson for doing what they want to do. The truth is, they do what they want to do. The dealers will now react to that, and then now you'll have to go to Guitar Center. But I say this so you guys know with a heartfelt, I don't want to ever, bash anybody, anything. But my personal experience with Gibsons, repairing them, messing with them, owning them, is I only trust buying Gibsons from big chain stores because I don't trust Gibson's quality. And so when I get one, I like to be able, my buddy, perfect example, my buddy bought one. He had to go through basically $3,000 guitars before he got the right one, exchanging them back. And in Guitar Center's credit, if Guitar Center wasn't doing this for him, Gibson wasn't really going to be a lot of help. In fact, what ended up happening was Gibson had to get involved in the third one, and it didn't go as good as we had hoped. So Gibson, until Gibson figures out how to stir up that quality assurance thing, big chain stores are probably the best idea for them because their return policies are lax enough to where you can do that. Yeah, Eric wants to know, hey, Phil, is the Sunzera 20 too loud for a condo? Yeah, I mean, it's a pedal platform amp. If you're going to use it for low volumes, it's got to be with pedals in the clean channel. That's it. So, but to get that overdrive quiet, it would be impossible. It's a pretty loud amp. Jay Maxey's got a great question. Phil, what's your thoughts on the Korean-made Fender Showmasters? I recently found one for a screaming deal. Yeah, Jay, I was probably looking at it too. I was looking at them about a week ago. Thinking about buying them. I was thinking about that going, that's a great guitar. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Jay Maxey might have to hurry up and buy this one before you guys figure out what he's looking at. But Fender made in 2005 and 6 and maybe to 2007, but I think it trailed off around there. They made these guitars made in Korea in the factory where, Paul Reed Smith and Chapman and Schecter are made, and these were basically they're basically Schecters. They just have Fender headstocks on them. That's what's great. They have a Fender body shape. They look like Strats, but they're really beautiful. But they have smaller necks. They're just screaming guitars with Seymour Duncans, and you can find them for deals. So Jay, I would grab that guitar. Let's see. Ed Dana says hi, Philip. Hey, Ed Dana, how's it going? Ed. So I saw your video on the Rosewood, Fender Rosewood, and if anyone's curious, I can tell you officially what's going on with Fender and Rosewood. So where I think all the problems with that is that Fender is making a change, and that change has probably started this whiplash of rumor. So here's what's officially going on if you want to know from Fender and Rosewood. Fender is going to raise the price of American-made guitars with Rosewood $50. So if Strats, Tellys, Jazzmasters, I don't care what it is, if it's made in the USA, it's going up $50 if it has a Rosewood fretboard. If it has maple, the price is staying the same. If it's made in Mexico, it will be $25 if it's a Rosewood fretboard. So anything made in Mexico, Rosewood, we're adding $25. If you want to do the math on that, it's like 3 and 4% price increases. However, where I think the rumors and all the problems came from is the Elite series will be losing Rosewood. It'll be gaining a maple necks and either an ebony or pale ferro. So that is Fender's official strategy to handle the Rosewood situation. They're just going to bump the price a little bit. Will Sand says, what's the best budget amp? Well, that's tough. Budget, when I think budget, I think $100, $200. Katana, $200 for a Katana is a good deal. See, Chris Ranto says, bought a Boss Katana 100 on your recommendation. Love it. Yeah, it's a great amp. And I've always said this, when it comes to technology amps, usually the newest ones are going to be the best ones. Because everybody kind of looks at what everybody else did before them. They one-up them. The technology gets a little newer. Let's see, Brian, where is that mini rec on sale at? What mini rec? There is... let's see. Convince PRS to make a left-handed SE, please. Yeah, that would be cool. I wish they would do it. I just don't. I don't know. I'll tell them. They won't care though. They won't care. No one listens to me. Let's see. Indonesian guitars have gotten a lot better in the last few years. Absolutely, Chris. I agree 100%. And I think it's true with all the guitars, right? They're just going to get better and better. Kind of like that. I'm pretty sure that Jackson I just bought was either China or Indonesia. It might be Indonesia. So, Brian says Mesa Mini Rectifier $449 or Friedman Runt $599, 112 cab. So, are you talking about cabs? Interesting enough, I want a Friedman Runt 112 to match my runt head, but I'm having trouble with $600 for a 112. So if you buy that cab, you let me know. Because I'm really trying to decide if it's worth $600. I really can't understand why a box and a speaker is $600. I could buy a couch for $600. So it's just a crazy thing. Oh, okay, here's a good one. Boxcar Longy says, I have a Supersonic 22 and I love it. Any idea why it pops when I change channels? Yeah, and if you notice, Boxcar, it's probably only popping when you go from dirty to clean, not clean to dirty. Check that for me. So if that's the case, you go to clean, no problems, but you go to dirty, back to clean, you get a pop. That's a relay in there that's too close to a tube, and the tube's microphonically picking that relay up. So you might have an earlier Supersonic 22. My understanding is that they resolved that issue, and if yours is new enough, I think you can contact Fender and they might have a warranty for you, or if not, they might have the workaround for that. But that's what it is. It's a relay in the amp. I have not heard it in the newer ones, but the first ones were doing it for sure. And like I said, I noticed it, but it was mostly happening from dirty to clean. So, oh, Simon wants to know thoughts on ESP E2. I set up an Eclipse. No, it wasn't Eclipse. It was something else, E2. About a month ago. It was a really cool guitar. $1,500. Very cool guitar. So, you know, it's Japanese. It's expensive. It's nice. So, what do you think of the newer acoustic materials such as carbon fiber and HPL? I would love to get an acoustic guitar that now PV owns, you know, those acoustic image, is that who it is? Acoustic something, design. I had a Rain Song, and the Rain Song was a great guitar. The reason I got rid of it was one of those things where I was really happy, but believe it or not, I've had this problem with my modulus bass back in the day too. I would start getting a bruise right here, and I think it's because the carbon fiber was so hard, the neck was so hard, the graphite was so hard and heavy that it was hitting my palm, and it was giving me a bruise. Literally, I would have a little black bruise there. And so that's why all my graphite hard necks are gone. So that's what led me down to the Parker Road and back to wood again. So let's see. It says, oh, okay, Boxcar says, yep, from dirty to clean. Nail on the head. Yep, so that's your problem, buddy. There is a workaround for that. Like I said, if you have a used one or something that's too old for a warranty, find a reliable tech in town, and that works with Fender because Fender has the workaround. So they would send him the schematic to fix it, and it can be fixed. So or just use the pop. But I understand it was driving me nuts. That's why I got rid of my first one. I got rid of the first one, and then I got another one. I got rid of my first one like 4 years ago, and then like 2 years later I got another one. Okay, let's see. What's the difference between the Blackstar HT20 Studio and the Artist 15? Do they still make the HT20? Thoughts on your... Oh, love the channel. Thank you, Pablo. The Artist series is supposed to be more fine, more high-end, right? So you're going to probably see less transistor components making the distortion. The HT series, the Blackstar, I really like the HT series. It's a really impressive series of amps for the price, you know, right? Especially for those of us who back in the day used to pay, you know, more than that for something that was not as good as quality as that. So with the Blackstar HT stuff, the one thing I do know from friends who are amp designers that have taken HT amps apart while I've sat there and watched, they've explained there's a lot of transistor type, digital type technology making the distortions, and the tubes are there, but they are not so much, you know, dependent on being they're not the tone creation. They're part of the tone, but not creating the distortion. So essentially, there's some digital hocus pocus in there, which is fine. And the Artist series, I believe, is more true to being a real tube platform amplifier. And I would love to say that makes it better, but the truth is, you know, the sound is the sound, right? The quality is in our ears. So if it sounds good to you, it's good. That's the best part about tone. It's your tone. Hey, Phil, you got some of the best content. Thank you, Edgar. I appreciate that. Fender Grease Bucket or Texas Specials. Any thoughts? Okay, so Timothy, the Grease Bucket is a tone knob that they put it on, like they put it on the Highway 1s. Remember the Highway 1s? And so I don't know if there's a pickup called the Grease Bucket. Texas Specials I like. I have Texas Specials in one of my Strats. Big fan of them. Can't go wrong. Those, the Fat 50s. Those are two of the sets of great pickups that Fender's made. Texas Specials, you know, it's the Stevie Ray Vaughan sound. The red guitar. So Alfie wants to know, red guitar behind me is stunning. It's my RG 550 right there, and it's Rosewood red, which really means orange. But I love that guitar, but it was a fight to get it to be the way I wanted it to, and I finally got it there. Okay, so Harvey wants to know, how does coil tapping work? And he loves the channel. Thanks, Harvey. So coil tapping, there's a definition problem with this. We slang, because we're guitar players, we use a slang that doesn't describe what we're really talking about. There's coil splitting and coil tapping. And really, nowadays, everybody is coil splitting. So take the word humbucker out of your head, right? Pretend that word never existed. There is a single coil and a dual coil pickup. That's what really exists. Just doesn't matter anymore. Just every kind of pickup is gone now. Just single coils, dual coils. So a coil split is where you take and so you have a dual coil and you split it back to one, right? Coil tapping is where they would put a wire somewhere in the coil and they would tap into it to cut the winds down and reduce the volume. There's some more technical mumbo jumbo for it. But the most important thing is you don't really see coils being tapped anymore. I very rarely see anything like that. But the term is what we use when we really say coil splitting. And some people, kind of like a grammar, the grammar police, there's phrase technical explanation police, and they'll hit you for saying it wrong. But I say coil tap all the time, and I really mean coil splitting. We all say tremolo when we mean vibrato. We just say things wrong. My argument is always, if you're communicating and everybody in the room understands what we're saying, we're doing okay. We could try to be better though, right? Do you have any photos of you with hair? Yeah, my mom does. I won't lie to you guys at all. I literally joined the Army, and then they shaved my head, and then I'll never forget this. This is a true story. When I got my first high and tight in AIT, the barber was like, a little thin on top, buddy. And I was like, what? And then it just never really grew back. So I've been shaving my head since I was like 21. So it's not a thing for me. Like some people are like, the only thing about shaving your head that sucks is when you look at photos over the last 20 years, it's one haircut. It's one hairstyle. So everybody else got like hairstyles, and there's different fads and changes. Not me. I'm in a t-shirt and a bald head all the time. So it's one style. Lauren says he loves the new pedal backlights. Thank you. I can actually check this out. This is like high tech. I can change them. Look at that. I can do disco. We might do disco for a second. Look at that. You can do crazy stuff. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm wasting time. So there you go. But we'll put it back to normal. Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate you noticing that. Let's see. It says, I bet Carvin guitars did coil tapping. It's possible. I don't know what Carvin guitars are. Seriously, Phil? Oh, yeah, he said that. Okay, here. I am missing questions. There are 358 of us all hanging out and talking. So let's see if I get back to questions. Get focused here. Next. Hi, Phil. Will putting an additional spring in my Squire make the strings feel tighter? No, because what's going to happen eventually is the springs are just going to pull the bridge against the body, and once that happens, it's like a hardtail bridge at that point, right? So, no, if that makes any sense. The only exception to what I'm saying is if you're changing, adding and deleting springs out, and the bridge is floating the entire time, yeah, that would change the tension. But really, when you get to the math of it, you have to understand that the strings and the springs are really equalized in tension if the bridge is not against the body. So there's really it doesn't matter how many springs you got, you'll get to the same amount of tension. I have experimented like a lot of people with, the putting them in a V and putting two and then a one and doing all that stuff. And I think I feel differences. Honest to goodness, really what I've noticed is that over the years, some guitars, regardless, just have a looser feel and a tighter feel. Nothing to do with scale, nothing to do with springs. Just some guitars feel that way. I have 3 Strats, and I can tell you right now, one Strat for some reason, even though they're identical bridges, because I put the same bridge in all my Strats. Same bridge, same strings, same everything, same neck. Just one just feels a little, the strings feel a little bendier, right? So it just happens. Okay, here's one. Why wants to know, Gibson Les Paul Studio versus PRS S2 SE. Also, which one do you prefer? Easy answer. Ready? I think the PRS S2 is better. I think it's a better quality guitar. I think it's a nicer product. However, the Gibson Les Paul will hold way more value, and it's a better investment. So sadly enough, I think the S2 is a great thing, but until Paul Ray Smith can get to that level. So the question you have to ask yourself, if you want performance, you want it to play right, you want it to feel good, and you want the company that's behind it to be a good company that loves guitar players and loves customers, I would go Paul Ray Smith. But rationally, Gibson is a better economic choice because it will hold better value. And if you ever want to sell it, you'll be able to sell it faster. So there you go. Hi, Phil. Thoughts on why more people are concerned about buying U.S. versus foreign-made guitars? Yep. Less concerned about buying U.S.-made versus foreign-made amps and effects. Yeah, of course. And that's Burton 56911. Absolutely. Two things. And again, these are just theories. These are my feelings, my things. So there was no, take it as you will. First off, I always say this, and I never mean to offend anybody again, but I don't think anybody cares where anything's made, right? We care about economics, and that's a different thing. So when people say, oh, it's made in a country, especially if it's in the country you're in, or that's good because that's money's keeping into your country, it's helping your economy, it's helping your lifestyle, that's a good thing. So so having a desire to buy products in the country you live in is not so much about quality anymore. It used to be, though. There used to be a hierarchy to things being made, but with machines and computers and the world at large now, quality is it's a harder bead to get a read on that way. But why guitar players specifically value American-made guitars over amps and pedals is because they are still a status symbol, right? Even when you own an amplifier, American-made amplifier, you know that there is no way all the components are in there are American-made. And same with the pedal. There's this eerie feeling, even when you buy an American-made pedal. I'll pick on Brian Wampler because he's a good guy and a good pedal maker. His pedal, I have a bunch of them somewhere. Grab one. Oh, right here, like this tape echo. Okay, so it's American-made, but if we pulled it apart, first thing we'd see is a Chinese-made PC board in there. Something like that, right? So again, that's why. So it's, and I do the same thing. I try to buy American amps and pedals, but if they're not made in America, I don't really worry about it. But I do focus on buying American and Japanese guitars, and mostly again because it's the prestige of having that, right? And I think secretly we all believe they're going to go away, so having them is an asset. Right? I think that's a reasonable assumption to assume that one day, it just won't make sense to make guitars in the U.S. and in Japan because, it's going to be hard when a Strat is, come on, we all know those Squier Strats are getting as good as the American Strats. It's getting tougher and tougher to rationalize the price. But I still do, but it is getting harder. Hey, Phil, would you recommend the Acid Reflux for a great delay? Yeah, I not to be a broken record, Acid Reflux is my favorite pedal. In fact, I just emailed or texted Russ this morning because I'm ordering a custom one, and because I want another one. I had 3, and through something that happened with a friend, I hooked a friend up and I hooked a customer up, and now I have 1, and I really like to have 2 because I like that pedal so much. So it's my favorite delay. So, and I've been saying that for almost 2 years. So, plus the price is legit. I think they're like $160. Okay, let's see. Considering doing a wet-dry rig for at-home use, okay, what amp would you complement the Mesa Boogie Mark V 35 well? I was thinking maybe the Laney 30 watt or the Oro 15 or the 65. So here's the deal. I have that I have the V25, not the 35. If it was me, that's tough. I like the OR15 because I would want the amps to be as different as possible. To me, the 6505, it's a great amp, and it would be the amp I would pick. If anybody's looking at the Mark V Mini, I think the 6505 Mini is the closest thing to get to that in that price range. But it's not as good as the Mark V because it's not as expensive. It doesn't have the finest components, so it's got a little bit more hissing, a little bit more noise, but it's still a quality amplifier. So if I was going to do a rig where I wanted things to be different, I'd look at the OR15 or the Laney because it gets me away from the Mesa sound. Let's see. What would my dream pedal board have on it? I have no idea. I gotta stick with this horrible answer, which is you pick your favorite food, keeping in mind that once you pick your favorite food to eat every day, you're going to hate it. So it's tough. I can tell you this. Like I said, broken record, acid reflux, delay. I really like, for reverb, I like the Boss 63 reverb pedal. I like the LPD 68 drive. I like the Wampler Pinnacle Deluxe. They're great pedals. So, I mean, those would be some of the few. I really, really dig the new Supro tremolo pedal a lot. Okay, here's another one. Here, I love these A-B questions. So here's one. 112 cab versus 212 cab closed back. Gigging 212, right? Except for sometimes if you're in a smaller band, the 112 will cut better if you're in a three-piece. But 212 is bigger, better sound. I use 112s because, most of the time I'm just trying to play as loud as I can without disturbing the house. And my room's soundproof, insulated and stuff, but still, even then. How do I feel about made in Japan Fenders? I feel the same way. That's Zaman. Zaman, I feel the same way as everybody does. They were some of the best guitars ever made by Fender. They're a fantastic product. And that's why they hold value. So, and there's some Japanese-made Squires that were awesome too. So, and there's 399 of us today talking, so we'll keep going. Let's see. Hughes & Kidder Tootmeister, good heads for $500? Question mark. It's been a while since I got a good head for $500. I liked it, loved it. I'm a Strat guy. They don't sound good with Strats. I talked to Hughes & Kidder, and they said that when they made the amp, they really leaned into the Humbucker Les Paul world. So if you're a Strat guy, keep that in mind. I thought it was really bright. Still liked it, but it was a little bright. That's why I got rid of mine. And it was tough because it's the coolest looking ever. So it says, Icepick says, make T-shirts for us fat guys. All right, I will do it. That's an easy one. That's a no-brainer. I'll make that happen this week coming up. Let's see. Orange TH30 is a waste of bedroom volume, mate. Okay. So, but he was saying the OR15, right? I don't know if you're responding to that one. Thoughts on really affordable modeling amps? I'm going to be buying a, Sweetwater was out. So I went to buy one yesterday based on a recommendation of a student. The Yamaha TH, I don't know. I was going to get the cream one, I'm pretty sure. I was looking at the black one, but I was thinking about getting the cream one. Either way, they were out. Really love that modeling amp. After that, I think I like the Katana, and after that, I like the Roland Cubes that are now discontinued, and of course, the Mustang stuff. I always dig that. And all of them are good. I mean, right? Like the PV ones, I know a lot of guys like those, and they asked me to check them out, and I check them out, and Jared wants to know, where's John Wayne today? He's actually in the other room. It's like I said, it's a little bust and it just moves around the house. I don't know if you guys know, that's how it ended up in the videos. When I started doing the videos, it was on my dresser in the other room, and it got in the shot, and then somebody asked me why it was there. Okay, Phil, thoughts on the new John Mayer Strat PRS possible signature guitar he has recently used on tour? Well, I'm excited for it, but I can tell you, I don't know if Nathan's watching and he'll get mad if I tell you this, but so my buddy Nathan works at PRS, and he had to do some of the finish work on that guitar, and he told me the neck is thick. It's a huge baseball bat neck. So like, and I mean bigger than their normal, like, pattern regular. So I'm not excited about that. I don't know if I want a big jumbo neck Strat style guitar, but I love the idea of it. I really would love Paul Reed Smith to make the DC3 or the NF3 with a wide pattern thin neck, right? So I would get rid of my Strats if they did that, but they're not going to do it. Let's see. Have you met any of your biggest inspiration or idols? I have. My biggest idol is Marcus Miller, and he's a bass player, and I met him, and he is amazing by every means. So by far. So here's a tough one. This is Kai. It says, hey, most disappointing anticlimactic recent release, except for the obvious Spider 5. Yeah, it's the new, yesterday, I put it on Instagram. If you guys don't follow on Instagram, I've been trying to beef that up, do fun stuff on that. I'm going to probably do more fun stuff on there. It's the new Mustang stuff. I'm sure they're going to sound great because, again, like I stated earlier, the newest modeling amps will always sound better because they keep updating. But it was a little lackluster in the way they looked and they're presented. So it didn't feel like they really put a lot of time and effort into it. Okay, so and the next question, Joey wants to know, when is Fender releasing the new line of Mustang amps? I saw some on social media teasers. Yes, the new line is getting a soft release in May, but they are going to be shipping in a week to dealers. So they're keeping the first one. So the Mustang one, the way you see it now, stays. This is 2, 3, 4. So right, half stacks are going away, obviously, and I don't know what the prices are. I'm pretty sure it's $229, $329, $499, something like that, $399, whatever, and they might be more. I didn't look at the price list and stuff. I don't know why. But anyways, so they're shipping in a week to dealers that order right now. So you can, if your local dealers have some, you can scoop some up and check them out. And then other than that, soft release in May, and then they're out in June. So June, available to the world in June. Hughes and Kittner to brighten the warmth of the humbuckers with mahogany. Sweet, must save on the core blade. Hi. Okay, here's a good one. Patrick wants to know, flat wounds versus round wounds for bass. I'm a wound guy because I slap bass, but I do have a bass with flat wounds because flat wounds are good. And I like the nylon wrapped flat wounds. But my problem with flat wounds is I bend, and flat wounds don't bend. But they are a classic, right? You put them on a P bass and you get that Motown sound in a second. Let's see. Best cheap giggable tube amp that doesn't suck. Cheap is tough to explain, but I will stand by this probably forever. The best giggable cheap amp is the Hot Rod Deluxe by Fender. And then any of the USA-made PV stuff for the Classic Series that you can find in good shape. You should be able to find all those amps in $500 and below. And, if you're gigging, and it matters, it does, look at that stuff. Okay, James wants to know, Orange Tiny Terror or Fender Blues Junior 3. He says he loves the tech talk, and I'm an Orange fan. Well, if you're an Orange fan, stick with what you know, right? Orange Tiny Terror. They're different, right? The Tiny Terror is like the 2 preamp with the Blues Junior to me is a more legitimate tube type product, but the Tiny Terror, I think I've said this before in a live feed, so the Tiny Terror I thought was an amazing amplifier and is an amazing amplifier. I had one and I only got rid of it because I really didn't like the weird cable, right? Why they made that weird power supply that's unique to it, and then the fear was I was going to take it, travel with it, and lose that power cable. But then I think about it thinking I should get another one again, but let's see. Okay, so somebody wants to know what do you think of the Line 6 Amplify? I haven't tried it. I just haven't tried it. You know what it is? I just don't see Line 6 stuff anymore, right? It's only on YouTube, like you guys, that I see it. I don't see stores with it. I haven't popped into Guitar Center recently. I probably will. Phil, have you tried out the new OptiWeb strings? I haven't, Jay. I'll have to check those out. I wonder what's different about them. I'm curious to buy a pack. They're out. I was looking online. I was looking. Those new Ernie Ball strings you can't break. I just want to do it, right? Don't you just want to buy a set and just try to break them? They said you can't break them. And I'm like, okay, what is your favorite 5 watt or less amp? Tube amp. That's tough. I try to keep it reasonable. 5 watts. I have a Class 5 by Marshall. It's okay. I prefer the Blackstar 1 watt to the Class 5. So I only have the Class 5 because it's a good investment, right? It's only going up in value. It's cool. It looks cool. It's fun to mess with and throw pedals in front of. It's a good sounding amp, right? So it's made in the UK. It's fun. Let's see. Next. Oh, here's a good question. I like this. Reza says, hey, do you think younger people think about the wood and construction of the guitar when they buy a guitar? I feel that they are more inclined to pickups and cost. Well, we all were kids. If you're not a kid right now, then you were a kid. And when you're a kid, you're broke. So money is always a factor. So absolutely, right? Luxuries, worrying about the type of wood your guitar is made of is a luxury for someone who's got the money to spend that. But do I think they worry about it or do they think about it? I don't know, because I can only tell you, like I said, when I was younger, when I was young and I started out with guitar, I didn't think about it. You know what I can tell you is honest goodness truth. I remember when I first started looking at Ibanez's and Aria Pros and stuff, I remember older guitar players looking at me and saying, man, that's basswood body, that's junk. Why are you looking at that? For that price you can get Gibsons and Fenders. And I didn't care. So the odds are they probably don't care either. Okay, next one. Black State RHT5 or Fender Bassbreaker 7 would make a good shootout. Yeah, that would one, right? Because those are two good amps. I think the Bassbreaker 7 sounds a little better, but, I think the HT5's got more features, right? I like that. Features versus sound sometimes, because both are good sounding amps. Say, benefits of a tube cabinet amp versus solid state amp. That's a hard question. I'm not really sure I even understand what the question is. I guess if the question is, the benefits of a tube amp over a solid state amp is, a tube amp has more expression. That's the hardest thing to explain when you're explaining something like solid state versus tube. But tube amp just has a feel and a sound to it that it's very romantic. Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but it is. It's just you're there and you're involved in the sound. Best guitar strap lock system. I prefer the Schallers over Dunlops, but both are very good. And I use DiMarzio clip locks, but I don't think they're the best. I literally just bought them when I was 16, and then I just started buying them ever since and never stopped. Yep, I hear them say basswood was garbage too. Yeah, that was the thing, right? I remember I remember when I was in high school, and I remember when I brought to school my Ibanez RG770, and everybody was so blown away. And then there was a couple of dudes, they were just like, these are junk, man. And I'm like, oh, they were explaining it. I am currently foaming at a little music room in my apartment with the second floor, and I can't be too loud. Okay, well, great. He wants to know, okay, what's a great tune amp that sounds good at low volumes? That Yamaha TH thing, man. Like I said, I'll be reviewing that soon because those things are remarkable. All you're hearing is everybody saying how amazing they are, and of course, and then I went to get one and they're out of stock. Why doesn't Mesa Boogie make F series anymore? I don't know. Yeah, most of those questions, what I've learned is usually it's sales. As soon as sales drops, things go away. Ever played a Sigma acoustic? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I've set up many of them. Now, if you're saying Sigma, the new ones, I haven't played the new ones. There's Sigma. There was Sigma Martin before, and then of course somebody's bought the name and is messing with it and doing stuff. So I like the warmth of mahogany guitars, but want to get undertones and brighter woods to accentuate the highs, but the undertones. I'm aware of pickups being the majority in a 60-40 split. And I'm 20. Oh, okay, so somebody's younger is weighing in. Right, he's saying, okay, so I get it. You're saying that woods matter, but you know that pickups matter more. And I think that's smart because I agree with that, right? I really think, if you were to start, I think maybe a fun game, we all write down 10 things on a piece of paper and say in order what are the most important components of your instrument. And I always remind people, your instrument, if you're an electric guitar player, it's an amplifier, a cable, and a guitar. That is your instrument complete. And then if you add pedals, that adds to it. And all those things are part of the instrument because without all of them, you don't have anything. Hey Phil, has the Boss Katana made an impact on the U.S. yet? It's huge in Ireland. Just wondering. Yeah, they're huge here. In fact, they're out of stock. I think they finally just started catching up this month. So, no, they are good stuff. You can't go wrong. Tube amps all the way. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Tube is more sensitive to the touch. It's really, I've heard so many great analogies about tubes, but I've learned that explaining it is one of those things like you just got to play tube amps. What I can tell you is I play solid state amps and I'm happy, but I prefer tube amps. Would you recommend selling an amp to finance a PRS SE24? I rarely get to use it and mostly play through. Yeah, if you've got dead gear, get rid of it. Like I've said before, the best thing about what we do is our gear is always worth something. Get rid of what you're not using and get what you want. Although, I always tell you, if you have the money, buy the new thing, then get rid of the old thing, okay? That way you can make the best decision. Sometimes when you get rid of the old thing to get the new thing, you get remorse. But if you can hold both at the same time, even for a second, a day, before the other one has to go, you can make that last minute decision like, you know what, I don't need this new thing, I'm keeping the old thing. So, Okay, usually with cabs. All right, how do you know if you need to adjust your truss rod? Santiago's asking that question. You know, you don't need to adjust your truss rod unless your action is, if you ever try to play the guitar. And that's a trick, right? Everybody needs to learn how action works and how guitars should be adjusted. But the truth is, some people prefer their guitars to play with really high action, so it's not a problem for them. So, if there's a problem, you should know it. You shouldn't have to ask. Just trust me. Like, just trust yourself. If you think it's right, it's right. If you got a suspicion there's something weird, like you're asking that question, maybe asking that question means you do have to make an adjustment. Let's see. Do you foresee Fender Twin Reverb Silverface 82 rising in value in the future? Yeah, I think all the twins, what's going to happen is they've been taking it so hard because no one wants big, heavy amps. But I think what's going to happen always is everything goes in a circle. We'll end up back loving all the big old amps again, maybe. So, I don't know, right? But so if you're asking my speculation, I think they will go up in value, but it will be a long time, like 10 years. I think the small amp thing is definitely not done yet. Have I tried the SZ series by Ibanez? I don't know. Let's see. Home Studio says basswood is fine, lightweight, and solid construction. I agree. I have a lot of guitars that are basswood. Yeah. On the wood thing, I don't really care what wood the guitars are made out of. I have learned that for me, it's about the weight of the guitar. I want the guitar to feel a certain way, weight-wise. And I've kind of just learned, regardless of what everybody feels like with it comes with Tonewoods or whatever, is that certain pickups can cover certain issues. So if, whether you believe that the wood is causing the problem or not, I've learned what pickups, for me, counteract the issue I'm having. So, comment on the Crate Palomino, please. Those are great amps, right? Those are also good finds. You can find good deals on them, right? Okay, so Tails, this is a good one. Tails says, I have a Basswood Ibanez RG. It sounds like crap. Yeah, but here's what I'm telling you, right? So I have this Basswood Ibanez, and it sounds like crap. And if you go through my videos, this red one, has had so many pickups because I couldn't get it to sound right. I've tried everything. I finally got it to sound right, and then I got it to sound a little better, and I really love where it's at now. But I could sit there and say it's because it's an Ibanez, it's basswood, but I have a bunch of other Ibanezes, and they didn't sound like a problem. They didn't sound thin. So that's my problem, is it's not even a wood that I think. It's just sometimes, for some reason, a guitar just has no mojo. But that guitar, I have no way to get another RG5 that I can't there. I have no way to get another RG550 in red in mint condition. So I've had to fight this guitar because, and my friends would tell you, I've actually tried to sell this guitar, like this red one. I don't know why I keep doing that. It's just because my camera's upside down there. I've tried to sell a guitar like 3 or 4 times, and each time I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And I fought until I got it right. So some guitars just don't have it. And Ibanez's to me have been a tricky mess. Sometimes I love them, and man, sometimes they're poop. Squire Bullet and Boss Katana for 90 days. Is it possible? Yeah, like a challenge to do that? Yeah, of course. Of course, I'm saying that because I have a Squire Bullet, but mine's, plays amazing because I've set it up and done the fretwork and everything. But yeah, they're a usable product for sure. And it says, yes, pickups in the electric are key. It's what Home Studio 770 says. I agree. There's 414 of us all talking today. Let's see. What's the new thing coming out this year? There's a bunch of stuff I'm looking forward to. Obviously, Sanzera dropped. That was cool. And now I'm looking forward to the Dirty Shirley pedal by Friedman. Curious because I tried it, at the NAMM show when it was like 5,000 decibels. So I'm hoping, to hear it in a non-loud environment. So Tulio says, Phil, why most of the world bands tour with XFX? They say, right? ? They save money. Yes, absolutely. There's a story. I want to tell it to you because it was great. It really changed my perspective on those things. And here's why. It was Larry Mitchell And he was explaining he uses one because of the economics of touring. And the thing that was most interesting to me was he was basically going on the Axe-Fx forums. So when he went to Russia, he would find people who had Axe-Fx's and say, hey, if I send you my programs, my presets, can I borrow your Axe-Fx? And people were letting him borrow them. So he could literally go places and not even have to bring the Axe-Fx, right? They would, so that's a game-changing product. The idea that you could, have your sound, right? Amps are different. That's just, So I definitely see why live bands are using Axe-Fx. There's no question about why Axe-Fx is good. It's just, like I said, for me, I just don't need it. But I definitely see its merits. Let's see. What did you do to your Squier Bullet? I purchased one recently and I want to upgrade. Okay, so on mine, I spent all the time and money on the frets. I fret crown and level, treated the ends, high dress the ends so they're nice. And then I upgraded the tuning keys and put better tuning keys on, and then I put Wiggins pickups in mine, but you could put any better quality pickups and new electronics. I left the bridge standard. Again, I didn't want to put too much money in this guitar, and that was inexpensive guitars. I think it's fun to take and put more labor into them than components. I find a lot of times you can improve the guitars by the workmanship, and that's great because that's your time invested instead of money that you can't get back out, right? So that's why I did that. So, and let's see. Market for a small guitar builder. Where is it? It's tough. I have a friend. This is a true story. A couple years ago, he got into the guitar market. I told him he was crazy, and I said, "Hey, you could make more money building cabinets, furniture, kitchen cabinets." And so he changed his build. He changed, and now he's kitchen cabinets, and he's making good money. Now, if his passion was to build guitars and it didn't matter about making a living, then he should do it. But it's tough to build guitars for a living because guitar players, everybody has a theory about this, but really, honest to goodness, this is mainly what it is. We, as guitar players, we are habitually traders. We consistently get rid of guitars and get other ones. And when you have a market that works like that, resale values are important. And small builders have no resale value. So taking the plunge to buy the guitars and lose the money is tougher. But I constantly like to try to give small builders an opportunity to sell my guitar, right? I love it. I love the idea of it. So, okay, next one. What do I think of Chapman guitars? I don't own one. I tried them at the NAMM show 2 years ago, and I know they're good because they're made in a good factory, right? I've heard stories that there's been quality assurance issues, but again, that's, if you're buying them new, it should just get swapped out. That's an inconvenience, and maybe that makes you not want to buy another one. But overall, I would imagine they're good because that factory is notoriously good for making some of the best stuff. Can you explain or recommend the differences and benefits between a hollow body guitars like a 335, and would you recommend a brand new like Ibanez, Epiphone, J-Terce, or Oscar Schmidt? For hollow bodies, I really like Ibanez and Epiphone. You can buy Gibsons, you can buy expensive Gretches. Now, the Streamliner, the affordable Gretsch Streamliner is great, but they're kind of a different kind of a bag. The Gretsch is its own thing. So if you're into getting Gretsch, get Gretsch, but I cannot recommend Ibanez and Epiphone enough for affordable hollow bodies. Just I can't. I've worked on so many over the years, and they're always better than they should be for the price. Okay, so here's a good one, and we're almost getting close to the end. So it says, "Hey Phil, what do you think of the guitar industry would be if the Rosewood is banned?" Well, the Rosewood is banned. it's on the endangered species list or whatever. And and here's the deal. What does it mean? It's not going to mean a lot for us. It's not going to mean a lot for you. It's going to mean a lot to me. It's going to cost companies money. It's going to add cost to guitars. It's going to probably make inexpensive student guitars go away from Rosewood. These things are going to change, but it's not necessarily bad. The only hiccup is we might have trouble if you sell online and you cross borders and countries. You might get into some customs paperwork issues with guitars with Rosewood, but let's be honest, there's very few of us who are doing that. Most of the people are selling overseas are companies, so companies will deal with that. So I've talked to most companies, Everybody's okay with it. Like I said, Fender's made price adjustments. Paul Reed Smith has a couple issues with some SEs sitting in containers. They had them tied up and on the docks because of the paperwork issue, because they got there a little too late for the change in the law. But it's gonna be an adjustment, but it's not the end of the world by any means. Let's see. How do you feel about the Boss DS1? Tyler, I had one. It's good. I recommend it. They're cheap, right? It'd be one thing if I could tell you another great pedal for $40. There's a couple more pedals. There's Joyo now. I mean, that's really, think about this. The DS1's a classic, but it was mostly because it was the inexpensive pedal. There's a lot of choices in that pedal now. So I would recommend it, but I'd also recommend checking out all the other price point pedals like there, because there's a lot of pedals. $40, man, buys the world now in pedals. So can't even. Okay, let's see. It says, okay, ready? Oh, wait, what's your opinion on guitar body wood? Oh, we already covered that. Okay, next one. It says, have you played the XL Jumbo's D neck on the 2015 Gibson Traditional? I have not. Sorry, Brick, I haven't done it. Why no love for the 32 scale bass? I have a Yamaha. I don't know who's. I have a 32-inch scale bass. If you're talking to somebody else, sorry, I have a 32-inch scale bass. I'm actually buying another one right now. I play mostly 32-inch scale bass. So if it's directed to me, I have much love for 32-inch scale, medium scale basses. Okay, do you think that mini pedals are going to keep their popularity? I don't know. They're getting so cheap, and then they can't get cheaper, so they're gonna go up. And then when they start hitting $100, I don't know, because I don't know how. We all live vicariously through real people who do things for like musicians who tour. They need fly rigs. They need small pedal boards for touring gigs. Us local boys, most of us that are, and playing in pubs around town, or at home practicing, or playing at the churches, we really don't need a pedal board that fits under an airplane seat. But it's nice on the back, and it's kind of fun. And so we're always taking a chance that trend, we might get over it. So yeah, they always have that kind of jump the shark moment, but they'll never go away, because it is a functioning physical tool that gigging musicians really need. So they need small stuff. Let's see. Next one. What do you think of the Super Vs? I don't know what the Super V is. I imagine it's a V, right? Thoughts on sanding a gloss neck to have it satin finish? I've done it. I think it's cool. I usually recommend, using really fine sandpaper, and I don't find a problem with it. However, if you haven't done it, you got to practice, because if you mess it up in any way, you're gonna hate it, and then the guitar's gonna have no resale value. So practice if you're not familiar with it. Lawrence says he has an amazing mod for a DS1. So there you go. Okay, let's see. We got the 4-minute warning window now. It says always played all tube. I have a blue guitar amp. Surprisingly the same. A review, please. Yeah, the blue guitar amps are amazing. I really want to do a review of those. So you guys, if you notice, I haven't put out a lot of videos lately. I've actually been recording a ton of videos. I've been doing consulting for another channel. I was working with another channel, and I was working for 2 other companies. I was doing all this work. So I was working. And then I was actually doing videos, but not editing them. So I have a lot of content coming, because I just have to finish editing it. Okay, not directed to me, just population in general. Why don't they like 32nd scale basses? You know what? That's a great question. Stu Hamm, I think, popularized, a lot short scale bass. The Paul McCartney for the Beatles plays a short scale bass. There's a lot of famous bass players playing short scale, medium scale basses, 32-inch scales. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I tell people all the time, I go, why are you working so hard? Right? You don't need it. I can do everything with a 32nd scale I can do with a 34-inch. So there you go. Okay, let's do 3 more questions and then we'll call it. Let's see. Here's one I can't answer it, but it's funny. Brandon says, Gibson 2018, what will it be? Oh, I don't know, right? Should we go for the joke, or we should go for something truthful? I don't know. They're the craziest company in what they keep coming out with. My guess is more Les Pauls. Jeez. In different colors, right? It's getting tough, right? How many Strats and Les Pauls can they keep making? Oh, okay. Jacob says, I can't seem to get rid of the hum from my hollow body P90 Epiphone. Any suggestions? Yeah, the P90's got to go. If it's humming, it's probably 60 cycle hum, or you could have a ground issue, or there could all be problems. But either way, I would ditch the P90 and go to noiseless. If you some guitar players are sensitive to the hum; they just don't like any hum, and so I always tell people just invest better pickups. One of the things I tell people when you look at those Epiphones and those Ibanez's I was talking about earlier, those hollow bodies that everybody likes, just go ahead and upgrade those pickups. That's where they save the money. So put better pickups. MB215 says, Phil, I noticed more of your videos being used by Guitar World and others. Yeah, it's because I'm very, very open about anybody can use the videos. I have no problem with that. So Guitar Player, Guitar World, Musicians Unite, Ultimate Tabs, all those guys, they some notify me and say, hey, we're using your videos. Most don't. They just do it. Either way, I get credit and I get paid for it. And it helps me find new subscribers. It helps me in every way. There's no downside for me at all. I think it helps my credibility that they recognize, that what I'm saying isn't crazy, and it's a compliment. That's how I take it. How else could you take it? And so no, I like it. Yeah, so they do it. And I see some people get upset because they're like, why don't they make their own content? But the truth is, it's a free website, and their advertisers only pay so much. So getting content for free is just a thing in the world now. So, any thoughts on affordable guitars similar to the Charvel Govan? You like the Guthrie Govan? Being the newer, the more affordable model. It's a great guitar, but boy, they're expensive. I played one at the show. It was really nice. It was just expensive. Okay, last two questions. Here we go. Let's see. Last one. Do you prefer humbuckers, single coil P90s, or a combo? I prefer humbuckers, but there's something about single coils I always love, but I do prefer humbuckers. So most of my guitars have humbuckers. P90s, I have one guitar with P90s. I like it, but there's nothing that draws me to it. It's a really cool guitar. I really like them, but I'm definitely a humbucker player for sure. And last question. Here's one. Lennon wants to know, is it a bad idea to buy fakes and put quality guitar parts on them? Yeah, I think it's a bad idea to buy fakes. But I have a different reasoning. My problem is I can't buy a fake. If I buy a fake, because I sometimes I don't keep guitars, I can't sell the fake. Just because I don't want to be a part of it and mess with it. And, plus, there's always this argument. I think this is what I think personally. I think most guitar players, if you really talk to them really honestly, and that have bought fakes and upgraded them, it was more about the experience of doing it than it was about the actual guitar, right? I think it's just fun. The idea that you could take something and shine it up. It's like buying an old rusty car body and you're bringing the car back to life, right? Grease Lightning, right? Like the movie Grease, right? You take this old jalopy and you turn it into an amazing car. And I think there's some fun and there's some excitement with that. And I think there's other ways to go about that. And I think there's better investments you can make. And I really am trying to push this on people. I'm doing a project right now where, and I'm going to be talking about more in the videos, I really think a lot of us should be, for fun, if you're interested in doing that, and if you have the ability, I think we should be looking at buying these really junky guitars and fixing them up a little bit to give to charity to help kids get into guitar. And so I'm doing that right now. I'm actually working on 12 guitars right now. It's the same thing. Taking junky guitars, it's my new thing. I want to take junky guitars and make them playable and give them to, there's a program called Guitars in the Classroom, right? Put music in schools because, we love music. That's why we're all talking today. So, it has nothing to do with philanthropy or anything like that. It's just, I love music and I want to share it. So that's my opinion on that. And with that, I'm going to go. I appreciate. There was over 400 of you guys today hanging out and talking with me. These are back on every Friday at 3, so I don't have any issues anymore, no conflicts, and if I do, I will, instead of not doing them, I will change the day. So I will notify you guys via the Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook if I make changes to the day or time. Other than that, let's bank on seeing you guys next Friday at 3, and as always, thank you guys for your time, and know your gear.